This is NewHampshireCrossCountry.com, powered by Runner's Alley, and this week's broadcast is brought to you by Demerit Hill Farms and Haunted Overload. So to start off this week's broadcast, we're going to introduce ourselves and talk about our favorite moments from divisions last Saturday. So I'll start off. I'm Morgan Orcutt, and I'm a senior from Concord. And overall, I thought divisions went great, and there were so many impressive moments. But two that really stood out to me was the D2 girls race and the battle between Chloe and Addison. That was really awesome, especially because they went back and forth between each other, and then Addison taking the win. Also, they both had pretty fast times for Dairyfield, so that was great to see. And then I also wanted to give a shout out to one of the freshmen on Concord, Alina Pinkowski, and she started in the second to last wave and made her way up to finish 6th overall in the D1 race. So that was really awesome to see as well. So, yeah.
My name is Rohan Ryan. I'm a senior at Wyndham. My favorite moment from this past weekend was seeing Aiden Cox's 15:15 New Hampshire state record on the Dairyfield course. That's an absurd time, absolutely crazy. So he was running like an absolute animal.
I'm Wyndham Valancourt. Patrick Gandini is my superior, clearly. I'm a senior at Messinic. My favorite moment this past weekend would be Concord on the boys' side, having the ability to pull out 4 straight state championships in a row. They did what Messinic couldn't. We obviously failed epically, but kudos to them. That was incredible.
I'm Luke Kasich, a senior from Co-Brown, and not to rain on Landon anymore, but I'd have to say my favorite D3 moment was watching the matchup between Patrick Gandini and Landon Valancourt switch from what it was last year. Same with what happened with Aiden and I. Seems to be a bit of a trend.
I'm Addison Cox. I'm a senior at Co-Brown, and my one of my favorite moments from this weekend was watching the D1 live stream and seeing the snow, but also seeing the battle between Carly Rinko and Mary Kate Finn. Carly Rinko ran a really good race, so yeah.
So to go off from there, we're going to talk about how MOCs is going to look this weekend. All the protocols are basically the same as last weekend, and it sounds as if last weekend went really well, so we want to keep that momentum for this Saturday as well. So the first thing we want to start off talking about is, again, there's going to be no spectators, and that's strongly enforced, so please do not come. The live stream is going to be great. There's going to be a lot of viewpoints. So, yeah, no spectators.
Yeah, something that's similar, or just like the Division I and Division II race, is that there's going to be waves at Meet of Champions. So the number 1 and 2 runner will be in the first wave, 3 and 4 will be in the second wave, 5 and 6 in the third wave, and then the 7th runner will be solo in the last wave. But the coaches and athletes should check what wave your athletes are in, because the athletes were assigned already and are based on individual performance from divisional races, which is different from how it was for divisionals where the coach inputted it. So just make sure that if you're an athlete or a coach, just that you know what wave you're in.
What do you think about those wave starts?
Personally, I think that the wave starts are I don't want to say bad, but not ideal. But just because if you're in the second wave or third wave, you definitely it's a lot easier to hunt. We saw Carter Sylvester pull it off, absolute beast, just hunting people down starting in the third wave and then still finish top 10. So, but definitely worth it so that we can all race for sure.
So once again, there will be no award ceremony this Saturday. It'll be much like last week. Your coaches will go up and grab your top 25 medals to each individual. And also, if you place top 25 from last week, you will also get your individual awards this week on Saturday. And yeah.
All right. So there will be no merch sales as it was for divisions. Basically, you can get it online, same as last week. It's kind of annoying not to be able to go up there, but it's a lot better than nothing. That's kind of been the attitude throughout this whole COVID situation. So you got to be happy for what you do have and don't dwell on what you don't.
Yeah. So another interesting thing about this weekend is obviously there's no New Englands this year, which is not normal. So it being the last race of the season this year, everyone's definitely going to be going for it. I know from like a co-brown standpoint, we usually view MOCs kind of just as a qualifying meet to go to New England. So obviously this year, our approach going into this weekend is very, very different because it is the last race of the season. So we're definitely like viewing it as a much bigger deal than we usually do. And I think that that's pretty similar throughout the whole state. So it'll be interesting to see how that makes a difference in everyone's performances.
And it's important to keep in mind with all of the protocol, like at least a race is being held. Many other states and around the country really don't have this opportunity to be having these competitive races with all these people. I know last weekend Division I was the first state championship to be held within the Northeast, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so just really please follow these protocols, because what's the most important thing is that like high schoolers and athletes are able to race. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the second topic, which is the rankings. So I think Addison's going to take that off for us, and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, so coming in 10th, we have Nashua South. They finished 6th at Division Ones. They ran a really great race as a team. They're not that far behind Dover. Dover placed 5th, so they're not that far behind them. So that's a really good race there. They have a really close together 4, 5, and 6. So if that little pack just kind of moves up towards their 1, 2, and 3, obviously they'll run really well. Nashua South is obviously their home course. So I definitely think that they'll perform pretty well on Saturday.
Yeah, so coming in at 9, we have Dover, which had a phenomenal performance last week. They were not ranked all season, and then they finished 5th at Division I states. So that was pretty impressive to see. And they're led by Isabel McIntyre, which is a freshman. And so it was really cool to see her see a freshman really lead the pack to have a great performance and have them qualify for meet champions.
So number 8, we have Bishop Girton. They're led by Mary Kate Finn, who ran a really strong race of divisions. Obviously had a great battle with Carly Rinko. She came in 2nd place, followed by Fiona Doherty, who came in 9th. They came in 4th at D1s overall. But obviously they're really strong championship team. As we all know, they always seem to perform really well at MOCs. They run at Mines Falls a lot, so they're very familiar with the course. And I think that they'll definitely run really well here on Saturday. So definitely look for them to place pretty high. So yeah.
And so coming in at 7, we have Hopkinton, and they finished as the D3 state championships last weekend. So great job to them. And similar to the rest of the season, they had a really great pack. And so they were led by Anna O'Reilly and Kaylee Stockwell, and they both finished 7 and 8 for D3. So that really helped out their team. So I think they'll have a good performance again at MOCs this upcoming Saturday.
Yep. So in 6, we have Bedford. They came in 3rd at D1s. They have a really low stick with Carly Rinko, who obviously won Division Ones. And then they also have a really great freshman whose name is Fiona Lee. She came in 5th at Division Ones. So with that 1 and 2, I think that they can definitely run really well here. We haven't seen a ton of Bedford throughout the rest of the season besides at D1s. So we're not really sure like what they have to offer, but I definitely think that they have a shot at coming in the top 5 this weekend, just depending on how high Carly Rinko finishes, as well as that freshman Fiona Lee. So,
and coming in at 5, we have Souhegan. So they finished 3rd at Division II, and they have a really low stick, which really helps with their score, because they had Chloe Trudell finish 2nd, and then they had Stephanie Svedson finished 5th. So with those two, it can really help them have a lower score. So I think they will also have a chance of finishing in the top 5 at MOCs this upcoming weekend.
So in 4th, we have Exeter. Exeter had a really great race at Division Ones. They gave Concord a run for their money. They only came in 2nd by 7 points. So it was a really close race between those two. So it'll be interesting how close it'll be this weekend as well. They have a really great number 1. She was Anna Madden. She came in 4th place. They obviously have a really tight pack. I just think the difference between them and Concord is Concord's really tight pack is just a little bit ahead of Exeter's. But it'll be interesting to see if that shifts at all. Exeter seems to run really well at MOCs. 2 years ago, they won it by, I believe, like just 3 points, but they ran a really, really great race. So they definitely perform really well at this meet. So it'll be interesting to see if they can place higher than 4th. So yeah.
Yeah, so coming in at 3 is Hanover, which had a phenomenal performance this weekend. They were previously ranked 9 and have bumped up to 3, which is just like not heard of. So that was really awesome to see that. And so they are led by Riley Roche, who finished 4th, and then they also had their second runner, Sophie Gluick, who finished 7th, and then their 3-4 were like finishing in the low 20s. So honestly, it seems like they have a really great pack, and so I think they're going to be a top team at MOCs come this weekend, which is just like awesome to see a team that we weren't even expecting at the beginning of the season to be this good and then perform that way. So I'm super excited to see how that goes.
Yeah, coming in second, we have Concord. They won Division 1s only by 7 points, and with Hanover in between Exeter and Concord, I think that it's going to be a really crazy team battle on Saturday. So it'll be really interesting to see there, led by Catherine Kennedy, who came in 3rd at D1s, and then they also had a freshman who Morgan mentioned earlier, Alina. She ran a really insane race. She came in the second. She started in the second to last wave, and ended up running 6 overall. So she's obviously running really well right now. And then they obviously have their other top runners like Sophie Hopkins and stuff. So if they just keep that pack really close to the front as possible, I think that they'll still be able to beat these other schools. But it'll be interesting to see if the other schools move up as well. It's going to be a really great race.
Yeah, and so with no surprise, coming at number 1 is Co-Brown, and they had another great showing this weekend at D2 States, and they were led by Addison, finishing 1st and being the state champion individually, as well as having their team finish the state championship. So they had their top 7 finish in the top 16, which I feel like is just not common at all. So that was really great to see that, and I think they're gonna run very well at MOC. So it's exciting to see like how well they can do on Saturday. But with that being said, we're going to move on to the boys' rankings. So if they want to start that off.
Yeah. At number 10, we have Bishop Girton, who finished 3rd this past weekend in the Division 1 race right behind Londonderry. They were led by Nate Fondakowski, who ran very well. He ran 16:51. I think that if their 4th and 5th guy can close the gap on their 3rd guy, they'll have a really strong performance this weekend at Meet of Champions.
Yeah, so number 9 is Messinic. They're led by Landon Valancourt, and he looks to bounce back, have a great race this weekend. See how the matchup between him and Gandini goes. And it'll also be cool to see how the bigger race affects the matchup between Messinic and Monadnock, because the more numbers I feel like might favor Messinic, but we'll have to see what happens because you never know.
Yeah, and right ahead of Messinic is Monadnock coming in at number 8. They were able to edge us out on Saturday to get the state championship. They interrupted my 4-peat, winning every single year except my senior year, which is kind of lame. But, kudos to them. They're very humble guys over there. They definitely deserved it. They put in all the work that they needed, and they finally got what they wanted. And they will look to bring that energy onto Mines Falls.
Yeah, at the number 6 and 7 spots, we have like a tie between Oyster River and Sanborn, but I'm going to be talking about Sanborn. Sanborn finished 4th this past weekend in the Division 2 race. They were led by the 3 Khalils, who all ran really well. I'm definitely excited to see what all of them do this weekend.
Yeah, so basically Oyster River is tied with Sanborn at 6th, and the reasoning behind that is basically on the merge. Oyster River was put 9 points ahead of Sanborn, but in the actual race in Division 2, Oyster River won by, I believe, 3 points. So that'll clear up all of that. They were led by Andy O'Brien, who finished out a great career on Dairyfield Park. And it'll be a cool thing to see Oyster River compete at Mines Falls because obviously they are a very good team that does well on fast courses.
Coming in at number 5 is Hanover, which is incredible because previously they were ranked 10th out of, nobody saw this coming. They beat Oyster River and Sanborn. No one was expecting that, so that's really incredible. They went out for blood and they definitely got it. To be ranked as 5th is no joke. rather. And they had a lot of guys under 1650, so that's very good for them.
Yeah, and Landon says that I said something like they wouldn't do that. I'm not sure that I did, but if I did, my apologies. And yeah.
At number four, we got Londonderry. They finished second, right behind Concord this past weekend at the Division I race. We saw a really strong performance from Ryan and Matt, who went 3 and 4. I'm really excited to race them this weekend, since we're the number 3 ranked team, and that they have Matt back now. So I think that's going to be a really good clash between Wyndham and Londonderry this weekend. Really excited to see what Londonderry brings.
Yeah, so the number 3 spot is Wyndham. They're led by Rohan, and he also wants me to say something about Wyndham. And he wants everyone to know that Wyndham had 3 guys in the top 10. So big shout out to them. Obviously, that's pretty impressive, having 3 guys in the top 10, possibly making all division, as long as they repeat that at MOCs. So yeah, but also on a side note about this spot, we also have to think about Pinkerton and Keem, because obviously they'd be right around here, like somewhere in the mix. I'd say top 5, as they were earlier in the year. So yeah, shout out to them, and we all feel bad for you guys.
Coming in at number 2 is Concord. They've been here pretty much the whole entire season. They had a really tough race this Saturday. They ran in the snow, definitely the hardest against the elements out of any of the other races, except the girls maybe on the D1 side. They raced really well. Braden Kearns and Eben Bragg were able to go 1-2, or Eben Bragg and Braden Kearns 1-2 rather. And he'll definitely be looking to bring it. Their times will probably be a lot faster given the dry conditions that we're looking forward to on Saturday, and we'll see what they can do.
At number 1, we got Co Brown, and their performance this weekend was absolutely incredible. They pretty much had a classic Co Brown performance. They put 6 in the top 10. And Luke wants me to mention this next part. They had the fastest ever New Hampshire team average of 16:01, which is quite absurd. Aiden and Luke both had really strong performances. They finished 1-2, similar to last year when they also went 1-2. The Co Brown boys are going to run really, really fast this weekend and certainly have a good showing.
Yeah, something about that too. If you watch that race on the live stream, you would know exactly what I'm about to talk about. And they were all talking about Carter Sylvester. The rest of the guys on the team would be pretty upset with me if I didn't give them a shout out, because they felt pretty disrespected, as even Logan Malik was right with him, possibly in front of him at some points, and they were in awe of Carter Sylvester. So yeah.
Okay, so to finish it off, kind of, we're going to talk about or basically we're just going to address what we're looking forward to most this weekend with MOCs coming up. So personally, I'm just excited to see both races as a whole. It's going to be really exciting to see all of the athletes come together, Division 1, 2, and 3 to race, because that clearly hasn't happened this season. So states are super exciting, but I think MOCs is going to be just as exciting because we get to really see some good competition.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to see who comes out champion of the boys race. There's a lot of people and a lot of names I can take it, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out and who comes out victorious.
For me, it's more on a personal level. I had a really bad race last week. I don't think I can do much worse. And I think the thought of this being my last cross-country race might really hit home when I'm out there just suffering. And hopefully I can make something of it. I would really love to go out with the PR, and so I'm going to settle to do.
Yeah, so what I'm looking forward to at Meet of Champions is seeing all the teams as a collective having a flat, fast course with a bunch of competition. Not something that has been had yet this year, because it's all been dual meets or really hilly courses. So yeah, that'll be pretty cool to see on the last New Hampshire race. It'll be great test of endurance and strength and speed all put together.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Luke said. Personally, we haven't really run a flat course yet, so it's really exciting for us to have that opportunity to run fast at some point this year. So I'm definitely really excited for that. But I'm also really excited for the team matchup. Obviously, we've raced Concord a lot this year, but we haven't like raced Concord with like Hanover and Exeter and Sauhegan like all there at once. So I think that will also be really interesting and really fun too. So
So to close up, just so everyone knows, the live stream will be happening again this weekend, and it seems as if rumor has that 100% of the race, almost 100% of the race, will be able to be seen from the live stream. So that goes again to show that like spectators, they do not, please stay home, because you're going to see so much more of the race from your couch. So anyways, and with that being said, it's really important. We want to thank the people who have made this possible. So we want to thank Greg Hall for, putting the live stream together and making all that stuff happen, because this really wouldn't have been possible without him. And we also want to give a shout out to Tim's Truck Capitals for helping support the materials needed to do that. So again, thank you to everyone who's been helping that to go through. But anyways, to close it off, this is NewHampshireCrossCountry.com, powered by Runner's Alley. And this week's broadcast is brought to you by Demerit Hill Farm and Haunted Overload. And thank you so much for watching. We're really excited for this weekend.